Leroy Hodgson. Everybody knows me as the press box. We are here today to talk about Thomas Partey. We know he's injured, but we are here to talk about how he has impacted on the Arsenal squad and how Arteta can maybe do a few, I don't know, do a few more tips, or should I say tweaks, to make his team much more better with Thomas Partey at the helm. And to help me do that, I'm joined with me is Billy Shen. He's a sports journalist with Joy FM, and Godfred Labi, who is also a journalist with Radio Universe and Umai TV. Hi guys, and welcome.
Hello, Leroy. How are you doing?
Great to join you.
All right. All right, guys. Like I said, we're talking about Thomas Partey, but before we talk about Thomas Partey, we have to talk about Arsenal and talk about the tactics and formation that Arteta is doing. He's currently playing a 3-4-3 formation, which has really brought a lot of stability when it comes to the defense. He solved the defensive problems, but in terms of attack, terrible so far this season. Bill, let's start with you. Can you tell us what do you think about the Arteta's tactics so far?
Well, the main problem of Arsenal in the last few years has been the defense. And from the start of Arteta's tenure at Arsenal, he's tried to solve the defensive problems of the team. You could realize that they've conceded much less goals since Arteta was at the helm than at Emery's era, at Wenger's era. You know, all those eras, Arsenal were conceding a lot of goals. And this has not been the case for Arteta. He's been able to get his side defensively drilled, solid most of the time. And he has been able to get some key players like Gabriel Magalhaes, who has done very well this season, a fantastic job this season defending. So I think in a defensive phase, Arteta has done a good job so far. On the other phases, there's still the jury is still out.
And do you think it's because Thomas Partey has been left out of the team because of his current injury? Looking at the recent results, it's been terrible so far.
Well, Thomas Partey impacts the side in a very big way. He brings a different option as compared to other Arsenal midfielders. For one, he's press resistant. He can be a press very easily. Two, his long passes are quite accurate. That is something that Daka, Ceballos are not much of experts in. And then he's not an expert in that either. So that's also another thing. Partey can move forward with the ball, can drive forward with the ball. And that is something that maybe Ceballos can do to some extent, but he's not as skilled in that phase than Thomas Partey. But even with his inclusion, there's still a hole in Arsenal system, and that hole is a creative midfielder. Partey can do some creativity to some extent, but he is not your typical creative midfielder like what Ozil can bring to a side. Ozil can create
so do you believe that? Okay. Yeah. So do you believe that we should be, or should I say, Arsenal should be playing Ozil more? I don't know what exactly the problem is, but it seems like Arsenal has decided that Ozil, no way.
Yeah, we can't advocate for Ozil anymore because he's no longer in the Premier League and Europa League squad. But what we can advocate for is for Arteta to have someone fill a number 10 role temporarily until he gets another creative midfielder, maybe in the January transfer window, who can help the side improve when it comes to creativity. Arsenal are one of the worst sides creatively in the league this season.
Yeah.
And that was something that wasn't actually there in the previous seasons. It wasn't a problem. During Wenger's time, there was a Wilshere, there was an Ozil, there was a Ramsey, Cazorla. All of them were creative. All of them created a lot of chances. Now, when you look at the current Arsenal squad, you can only point out Ozil as the main creative hub of the team. That is something that should be changed in the near future. Else, Arsenal won't be able to create as many chances, and Arsenal won't be able to score as many goals because someone like Oba, someone like Laka, someone like Pepe, they need that creativity. They need to be fed to be able to score the goals. So yeah, so that is what Arsenal should be working on.
All right, so let's bring in Godfred now. Let's talk about tactics. like I said, Arsenal is playing a 3-4-3 formation. It has stabilized the defense. But what do you think Arteta should be doing to, let's say, solve his attacking problems as well, while also keeping the defensive stability he has done? So, Godfrey, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that will be difficult, frankly. Now you look at even the 3-4-3 system that Arsenal, uses. The last time a team really survived very well in the English Premier League was when there was a certain Antonio Conte in Chelsea. Now, with that system, well, it meant that you needed players that are very disciplined, a lot of tensile players, players who are fighters, and to be able to thrive with such a formation, you need a certain kind of caliber of players that I feel that Arteta maybe doesn't have fully. So, well, he may have solved the defensive issue slightly. I still feel there's a bit more defensive work to be done when it comes to the Arsenal side. Gideon Mahales and co have come in, and I think a few injuries and co seem to have made things a bit pretty difficult for Arteta. But talk about, I mean, that system. I think that for the midfield, Arteta will have very little to complain about. Now, if you look at the pack of players that he had, I think that the only exclusion will be a certain Lucas Torreira. And I keep telling you that, look, when you look at contemporary football today, players that are deficient in height usually cannot really do the job or the task of a typical defensive midfielder or destroyer or someone who gets to preserve the backline of any team. And I feel that, yeah, that is the case. Now, you look at some other players, he's been able to work very well on El Neni. I never thought he'd be playing to the level he's playing today. You look at Thomas Partey, who came in, brilliant player. And you look at his impact in the team so far. If you look at his first two games, it just gives you a snapshot of what exactly he could do. He's good. He can try shots from range and get goals for us now. And then he's also a creator. He's a progressive passer of the ball. And he's a very good, tackler of the ball as well. He could hustle players for the ball and the likes. He wins a lot of balls for him, places that you least expect. And especially if you watch their game against Manchester United. And so it just tells you that, well, they have the men in the middle. Now it's about the kind of model to use when it comes to the 3-4-3 formation or in the midfield. And I think that's where Arsenal has a bigger lack. So I felt that the person, Thomas Partey, have given Arsenal a bit of edge attacking wise, because now if you want to play a one-man up front or even three-man up front, definitely you just have one central striker. And this striker needs to be able to get supported by players. And you look at Christian Ceballos and you look at Thomas Partey, I just felt that, well, it's just about getting this players to be quite disciplined. Where we attack together, we join the three men up front. And what happens is that Partey can give you a lot more creativity up front. Christian Ceballos has been doing that when he came from Real Betis. So then we knew that, well, these are things that they could do. And so I feel that maybe it's down to the coach. You look at Arteta, how has he been able to explore these other options? How has he been able to, harness the potential of these players? I feel, well, he's in a bit more, but there's still a lot more to be done. Now let's look at the front three. Now you look at the 3-4-3 formation, that front three, they're supposed to have great telepathy, great chemistry. You want to look at Willian, who I feel is great. Now what Willian gives you is that if Arsenal wants to be playing on the counter-attack, Willian gives you a bit of an edge because he knows how to move the ball pretty quickly. When it comes to the central striker, you have Aubameyang, who quite recently has not been playing as a central striker because of a certain Lacazette, which I felt they have a very good partnership. They have good understanding, and then they could thrive. In that 3-4, that front line. But unfortunately, it's not been working. Aubameyang has just got 2 goals. That's not typical of the striker we knew at Gabon. He could be able to fetch a lot of goals for you in the season. And it's always Arsenal's darling boy. It's always Arsenal's savior. Now he's not scoring. So I think that's where the issues are.
Okay,
and I feel maybe Arsenal want to vary that 3-4-3 system, either to create a bit of, try to get to throw more men up front. So then if you're playing a model where now in the 3-4-3 system, aside your fullbacks, if you are using 2 defensive midfielders, one gets to operate as an additional, attacking midfielder, central midfielder when you go on the attack. Now on the defense, you can just leave one player behind. So then he gets to add up to that extra man who may be 7 in the attacking midfield, which I think is not the kind of system that Arsenal are playing. And so that's where the issues are.
Okay, so let's talk about tactics now. What tactic and formation do you believe that Arteta should be playing? I, for one, I've been looking at it and I've come with a weird formation. I want us to go back to the 2003-2004 formation, the Invincible for 4-4-2 formation with Aubameyang, Lacazette dropping off, holding up play. Uh, Ceballos being more of the creator of the team, moving up forward, while Thomas Partey is the Vieira of the team, the more complete midfielder, going from getting the ball from behind, progressing it forward with Pepe and Saka on the wings, with Pepe more of an inside forward, while Saka is more of a winger, going wide and crossing the ball in, with which he really has good creativity when it comes to that. So I was thinking that might be an interesting formation to do. Others are also thinking about going to a 4-2-3-1. Others are saying a 4-1-2-3 formation. So what formation do you think we should be taking, Godfred?
Okay, so I think that Arsenal would thrive with a 4-3-3 formation, just like the one that Liverpool uses. So you look at Liverpool's formation. I feel that this Arsenal team is going through a lot of struggle in terms of injury, and so maybe if you want to play that 3-4-3 formation, you want to wait to have your whole pack of players, and that could really be helpful. Now, in that 4-3-3 formation, I believe that in that particular midfield, now I'll still go with the Xhaka, Partey, and then Ceballos. That is when they are all fit. And then you have a player like Lacazette playing at the left-hand side of the front three, and have Aubameyang playing as a false nine. And then you have Willian playing at the right-hand side. So I'm going to look at Willian or Nketiah at the right-hand side. Now, the reason is that, well, even if Arsenal wants to employ this formation, they need to have some great understanding in how they switch players. So I believe that getting Lacazette and Aubameyang to play in a very static position doesn't really help, because Aubameyang is a player that likes to move the ball a lot. He's quite mobile with the ball. That's the kind of striker he is. And so there are instances where you want him to operate in the false nine role and then switch with Lacazette. Now, I believe that it will give Arsenal a bit of extra firepower, because going up front, now you want Ceballos and Partey to also join in the attack with the awareness that once they're in transition into defense, now they're going to track back and then join the defense, the defender, that is Xhaka. If Xhaka is to be playing that role, to become a flat three, yes, which can support the defense well. Because, well, the three back may be good, but I'm looking at how effective the players are, having extra rules of like going up front and coming back. Now, why not get two fullbacks who have the duty of just staying back and then defending? Occasionally, they overlap and do some overlapping runs, and then add a bit of cutting edge on the flanks, and to just, put a bit of pressure on the opponent defense. And I think that this will work for us now. Because for me, I believe that in as much as there are defensive issues, they are also not scoring. And the fact that they are not scoring and they are conceding also means that they need to want to wait a bit more, and try to be a bit structured. In the way they use the ball, on the ball and off the ball. I believe that this formation actually really works
All right,
for them.
let me bring in Bill. Bill, what about you? Won't you join me in my 4-4-2 dream of Arsenal 2003-2004 formation? What do you think?
There are problems with that one, but I'm going to delve into that. I'm looking at two formations. One, the 4-3-3 Godfred mentioned, and two, 4-2-3-1, and I'll give my reason for that. I'm going to start with the 4-2-3-1. Now, first things first, I realized that since Partey came into Arsenal, the opposition midfielders have been covering him because they know that with that 3-4-3, he is standing with just one other midfielder. There's no other guy to come and link him to the strikers.
Yeah.
So he has the option of trying to break the press, dribble forward. He can't do it. But with too many people guarding him, that's going to be difficult. So there has to be an extra option, because Elneny is not that kind of guy who will go forward for you. He can do pressing and try and win the ball at the middle of the park, try and join the defense, but he's not the guy who can go forward for you. So I think a 4-2-3-1 would help solve a lot of problems, even though it would leave Arsenal a bit more vulnerable at the back. Now, in this formation, you definitely need a number 10. But hey, Ozil is not around, so you have to improvise. You can try with Ceballos over there. You can try Willock over there, but I'll choose Ceballos because he has more experience. He can create more chances than Willock can. So I think Ceballos should take that number 10 role. Aubameyang, his case is a bit tricky because he gives you an option of playing right down the middle, but you have to sacrifice Lacazette, or playing down the left, where if you don't feed him enough, you have a problem. He becomes more or less non-existent in the game. So, I mean, with the inclusion of the number 10, Arteta can risk playing him on the left, Lacazette in the middle, Pepe on the right. Lacazette can try and draw defenders away for Aubameyang to cut inside, for Pepe to cut inside. Since Aubameyang is playing on the left, he can cut inside to his right and try and find spaces to shoot. So that will help. And for the double pivots, I've seen how well Thomas Partey works with El Neni. So I think I'll choose those two for a double pivot. El Neni, stay back more. Partey, break press move. That would be what I think would suit the team. Now, people will be mentioning Xhaka, but I think Xhaka is not disciplined defensively.
Yeah.
He can have a lot of silly fouls, get a lot of silly cards. That is something that Elneny wants to do. And with Partey, he's the best defender, the best defensive player among midfielders. But that will limit his abilities, his other abilities on the ball. He can break the press, he can give a long pass, he can drive forward. So it's better to remove more of the defensive shackles off him and leave that more on Elneny to do that job. So in my midfield, Elneny, Partey, Ceballos in front of them, then Aubameyang on the left, Lacazette in the middle, Pepe on the right. For the back four, Tierney on the left, definitely Maguire with David Luiz because they have that kind of chemistry together, and then Bellerin on the right, or Maitland-Niles on the left, depending on how you want to approach the game. So that is for the 4-2-3-1. For the 4-3-3, there Arteta can try a few things, like leaving Xhaka at the base of the midfield, where he becomes more of a creative hub from the base because he can do that very well instead of going forward. With Partey doing a box-to-box role and Ceballos doing an advanced playmaker role. I mean, that kind of system, that kind of Sarri type system could be tried with Saka on the left, Aubameyang in the middle, Pepe on the right, and the normal back four.
All right.
So that's what I think can work for Arsenal.
Okay. All right. So now that we've figured out tactics, we figured out all that. Let's talk about Partey. This season, it seems like we all know Partey is a very good ball progressor, but in terms of his numbers this season, I know he's only played 5 games. Looking at completed passes. Passes per 90 in 2017-2018 he had 45.1, 2018-2019 50.9, 2019-2020 50, and so far this season he has 52.7. That is actually quite a nice increase in number. But then we come to the progressive distance passed, we have 252.2, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2018, 2019, 292, 2019, 2020, 301.5, and this season it has significantly reduced to 243.8 yards. Guys, his numbers seem to be coming down. I think, like you said, Godfred, it has to do with the fact that the players, or should I say, he's been isolated with El Neni, so he has not really been. Players have been getting to him, pressing him down, so he hasn't been able to really get that system. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I think it's quite correct. there isn't an extra guy to link the midfield to the attack. Now the whole job falls on him. And for one, Aubameyang is stuck on the left. You have to get him a long ball.
Yeah.
There will be a defender covering him. That's a problem. Two, Lacazette. Since it's a two-man midfield, Lacazette will be expected to drop further back to try and get the ball and create for Aubameyang or Pepe to advance. But here's the case where Lacazette is naturally a striker and not a number 10. So he's also expected to get into the box and try and get a header or try and get a chance and score.
Yeah.
So he will mostly be at the front. So that leaves a very big gap between Partey and the front line.
Yeah.
That is why I've been clamoring for an extra link of a midfielder. Now, with that extra link, more of the opposition will be looking at him, trying to guard him, and that will leave Partey with more space to thread more forward passes, to advance the ball even more, to push the ball forward on his own, and try and find a link, or try and find others, because the link will give extra space to the others to operate in. So that has become a problem. I quite remember in the game against Leicester, a lot of Leicester players were shadow marking him or right tied to him. So anytime Xhaka gets a ball, he'll try and give it to someone else and not Partey. That got Partey frustrated throughout the game. But that was the problem there with that 3-4-3.
Yeah.
There wasn't an extra person to try and get the defender's attention so as to let Partey have a bit more room to operate. So that problem should be solved. To try and get the best out of Partey, try and get that long distance, more progressive passes, more dribbles, more advancing of the ball, get an extra link just before the front line.
Yeah, but doesn't that take away from the stability? Like I said, that three-man defense has really been solid for Arsenal. Bringing an extra midfielder to, let's say, ease the pressure on Partey seems like it will take away from the defensive strengths that Arteta has built into this team.
Yes, it will. But here's the risk that you should take, because your chance creation is one of the worst in the league this season. Even the defense that is strong, no doubt, you still concede goals. So why not try and get your attack firing even more? Because you have potent attackers. You have Aubameyang. He will score a lot of goals if you feed him. That is the key thing. He's not the type who will create something out of nothing on a regular. He does it once in a while. He's more of the guy who you should create for him. Give him a good through ball. Give him the ball in a very dangerous position. He will find a goal. And that is what an extra link will do for you. Partey, he is too deep in the midfield with someone like Elneny, who is not a creator himself. So that is the path that I think Arsenal should take for now. Try and get goals. Try and give the players more confidence. And then in the transfer window, you try and get a bet to take a lot more pressure off Partey. Now, Elneny is doing a splendid job, but I think he's not your typical defensive midfielder who would, not like what Kante can do on a regular, even though Kante sometimes plays as a box-to-box. If you leave Kante right there to just play as a defensive midfielder, you get a lot of interceptions. That's not something that Elneny will do for you every single time. So I believe, first, get a more creative midfielder to take pressure off Partey. Second, get a better defensive partner for Maguire in the future. Third, get a solid defensive midfielder to try and get a better defensive cover in the subsequent season so that Arsenal can function like a very well-oiled machine. Right now, it is imbalanced.
Yeah.
More balanced defensively, less balanced attack. So that is the kind of course that I think Arteta should take.
All right. So, Godfred, from what Bill has said, do you think maybe Arsenal should have targeted more of a creative midfielder if they knew they were going to get rid of Ozil? Do you think they should have targeted a more creative midfielder rather than Partey?
Yeah, I think that if I were Mikel Arteta, what I'll be thinking now would be that, I had Christian Ceballos, who was also a progressive passer of the ball, who could pick up passes where passes didn't exist. And then now I have Thomas Partey, And so if you have a certain Mesut Ozil who doesn't want to actually cooperate with the system, it makes it a bit more difficult. And so I believe that was a whole plan. Now, what I don't really get is how El Neni made it into that Arsenal midfield system. Well, he may be great, he may be giving what you deserve, but compare him to Partey. Now, Partey is an intelligent presser as well. He's a progressive passer. He's a destroyer in that midfield area. Now, how much can El Neni give of that? And well, you may say, let's get cover for Partey. But Partey is not a typical attacking midfielder. Yes, he could shoot from range. Yes, he could pass the ball into pockets of spaces. He could open up defenses. But that's not his actual job. Now you take him out of that Arsenal midfield, and what you have is a flat Arsenal side. Now, who wins the ball? Will Xhaka do that without fouling people? Will he instead not give out options or more opportunities in the form of fouls and set pieces to the opponents? So these are the questions we need to ask ourselves. So I feel that, yes, well, the bigger issue here, maybe there on any issue, not to say he's not performing. He is performing. Now, he's one of the best performers in that midfield. But I think that it's taking a lot more out. Now, the reason why I will still want to stick to the 4-3-3, in as much as I really appreciate, the 4-4-2 system. I believe that if you look at Arsenal's men up front and the players and the weaponry they have in attack, if Arsenal wants to employ a system where they want to deflect play for Aubameyang, they want to deflect play for, let's say, Pepe or Willian, I believe that Arsenal could get a couple of goals. Because you look at what Giroud does at Chelsea and what he does for the French national team. I believe that Lacazette could do that a bit more. And what we have today in contemporary football and the EPL law is that most of the teams want to attack from the flanks. And if you look at Arsenal's system, even under Unai Emery, what they used to do was to use a lot more of cutbacks and overloads. That was their style. Now, a lot of teams get to adjust to teams that play on the flanks a lot, teams that attack on the flanks a lot. That could not get you to win EPL games. Or it could get you over the line in some games. It could get you to perform against the big boys. But you're looking at the long term now. Because in the long term, how can you sustain that side for, like, let's say 10, 20, 30 games to come? And that has been the concern now. So I believe that, well, in addition to what Bill said, the 4-4-2 will be good if you want to play Lacazette and then Aubameyang. That means that you are not going to be using the midfield area a lot. And you see, Arsenal doesn't have a player like Lo Celso who, his duty anytime he comes into the game is try to create options in the middle, because you don't have Ozil here. Now, you want to give the additional duty of a creator to Partey. It gets more difficult. And so I feel that, look, it's a bigger puzzle than you think for Mikel Arteta. But I believe that right now, the bigger headache for us now, it's the injury issues, and they need to get to solve those injury issues. Once they do that, I believe that finding a way up front will not be difficult. Maybe they need to try to improvise a lot more. The passing game and trying to keep possession doesn't really help all the time. You look at teams like Tottenham, right now, they are trying to use a lot of vertical long balls, and it's working for them. And so maybe Arsenal have the men, I believe, to start playing counter-attack football. They want to focus their game like that, get the whole team to start defending and attacking holistically. I believe that it could get them over the line a lot of games.
But I don't really believe the fans would really take to that, because this is a club that they really love. There's a style of football they expect from an Arsenal team. Then going back to say, okay, we are going to play a more direct form of football where long balls and all that. I don't think that is something the fans would really gel with. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, the fans will not gel with. But you know, the truth of the game today is that the game today is about the here and the now. No one cares how you get to win games. What we care about is how is the result at the end of the day. And I believe that teams like Tottenham have been able to do that. When Mourinho started, okay, the first game of the season, when he lost, there are a lot of content. What people feel, you should have won that game. That's all the fans think about. And mind you, before Unai Emery, when Arsene Wenger was around, people had concerns about games that Arsenal was letting go. You play lower tier sides, you lose those games. It makes it difficult to comprehend, because people feel that in their minds, Arsenal is a big side. Why is Manchester United running fairly well, in as much as they also have their issues? Why is Chelsea trying to put things together quite well. Why is Manchester City dominating the English Premier League with their style? So at the end of the day, it goes down to you winning the games. Give us shitty football, okay? Play in a manner that we didn't love, but get the goals for us. It will always appease the fans, it will always appease the management. And I believe that Mikel Arteta has shown that there are games that, well, his team didn't really come out as a dominant side, but they won those games against the bigger sides. And that is what you need now. What I'm talking about is how do you get to build that mentality in your side? How do you get them to scrap results? Okay. And well, we know this same group of players were scoring last season. So what's happened this season? Maybe something is not right. Maybe someone is not enjoying the role they are playing. Maybe you need to reshuffle the cards a bit more so that people know that the team is about competition. So there are instances when Aubameyang is not performing. You want to put him on the bench. You want to get Nketiah in there. You want to get other players in there. The Maitland Niles and Coles. You want to get them in there. I mean, these are the concerns, the overarching concerns. And I believe that Arsenal maybe need to move away from the three back. You are not scoring, then that means that you need to be defending more. That is the way football works.
All right, Bill. What about you? Would you are an Arsenal fan, so would you prefer us, or should I say, would you prefer Arsenal start playing long balls, counter-attacking football, rather than the smooth possession, entertaining football that the club is known for?
Well, every club has its philosophy, but then again, every fan wants to win. That is the final goal. Win games, win trophies. However way you want to win the trophy, I don't think a fan should bother much about it. It's all about, in the end, get the job done, get the win. If Arsenal has to play counter-attacking football to win, so be it. So be it. Just win and give fans some joy.
Mm.
That is all I expect. It's not supposed to be always about possession football. Yes, it will be absolutely lovely to dominate a side every time and win. But if you are dominating the side and you don't win, then you have practically done absolutely nothing. So in the end, it's all about finding the best way to win. If it's with possession football, fine. If it's with counter-attacking football, fine. If it's with route one, no one will have a problem as long as you are winning.
All right, let's end, or let me with your final words. Let's talk about Partey. Let's finish it up with Partey. What do you think? Has he been an impact? Is Arsenal missing him right now? What are your thoughts? Let's start with you, Bill.
Yeah, Arsenal are definitely missing him. They are missing the kind of qualities he brings to the pitch. He breaks a press very easily. He can give a long pass too very easily. He can drive forwards. Like what he did against Manchester United. He can tackle, win the balls with much more precision than the other midfielders that Arsenal have in their ranks. So yes, definitely, Arsenal do miss him a lot. But then again, when he comes, he also needs some extra some extra space. And with that extra space, Arteta will have to improvise to bring another creative midfielder to join and give him that kind of room to operate as well.
Godfred, your final
I
thoughts.
think I clearly side. Yeah, I think I clearly side with Bill on the getting an additional player to, take off the pressure of Partey so that he can start creating. If that's what you want him to do, but I think he's been fairly good so far. He's been very impressive. You look at that particular game that they did play in the UEFA Europa League, and it just gives an indication against Rapid Vienna also. And then you look at the game against Aston Villa when he got injured, he picked up an injury and he had to be taken out of the game. You saw how Arsenal went on to lose by 3 goals to 0. It just tells you that he has become the mastermind of that midfield. And so I think that once he returns to full fitness, he can keep doing that more. But he has the extra duty now, not to just do what he does, now to try and unlock Arsenal's goal scoring fortunes. And I believe that he has a lot more to be able to deliver at Arsenal. Everyone looks at Partey, even when the team is losing now, because mind you, we're the record signing during the transfer deadline day, and then a lot of people have expectations from him. And I think he started well, just need to just keep his head in the game, and then he needs to keep doing what he's doing best. And I think that maybe with time. Arsenal have always been a bit more like this. Slow starters at a point. Sometimes they lose their rhythm, they lose their grind. They have to come in at a point in the season. And maybe it's just one of those things. Maybe it's just come earlier than usual, and maybe they just need to cope with it.
All right, guys, that's how we end and wrap up today's show. I'm glad I got Bill and Godfred today, and I thank you guys for joining me as well.
So it's
Okay,
been a
great to have me, John. Bill.
All right, so next time I'll bring you. So next time I'll bring you something else, another topic that we can be able to discuss, and we will discuss it right here. Maybe boxing next time.
Okay.
Talk to you later, guys.